Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 5 of my How to Make Video Games tutorial. In this part of the tutorial, I'm going to finish up Canvas. I'm going to create the UI so we can see our scores. I'm going to finish up the spaceship, and I'm going to cover spaceship bullets, prefabs, and a whole bunch more. Like always, all of the sounds, all of the images, and all of the code is available in a link in the description underneath the video, and I have a lot to do, so let's get into it. Okay, so here we are back inside of Unity, and whenever I was off screen, I noticed here I have is trigger checked. I'm going to uncheck it. Well, actually, I'm going to check it, and I'm going to show you the difference here. So if I go and play our game, you're going to see that I am able to move my spaceship. Whoa, what happened? See, whenever you have is triggered checked, what it's going to do is it's not going to work like a normal collision. Sometimes you need is triggered, sometimes you don't. I'm not going to get into all the details, but I'm going to uncheck it for now, and then later on, if we need to add that feature in, we will. So I'm going to replay it, and now you're going to see the collisions work the way that we hoped that they would. Alright, so we got all that set up. What I want to do now is go in here and create the canvas so that I can put my UI elements inside of it. And to do that, you're going to go into your hierarchy and you're going to say create, and you're going to come down to UI and then over here to text, and that's going to create it inside of here. I'm going to select my canvas, and then I'm going to, well, first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select text right here, and I'm going to change its name to score. Go outside of there, and that's all set. Then I'm going to select score, and I'm going to think about some things I want to do here. Well, one thing is this is going to be the score in the game, so I'm going to change the default text to just zeros because everybody's going to start with a 0 score. I'm then going to make this Arial bold. I am going to take this up to, let's take it up to like 23 in size. And I'm also going to center align it. And everything else there I think looks perfectly fine. Now, after I set up score, I'm going to be able to go in and select canvas. Just select canvas inside of there. And come over here to the inspector. I'm going to change my render mode to world space. And that just means that the canvas and all of the UI elements are going to be on the same level as my game. I'm then going to adjust my scale. So I'm going to try 0.13 and 0.13 to see how that works out. I'm going to get my main camera out of the hierarchy and drag it and drop it over here into the event camera area. And then the important point here is I'm going to make sure that my dynamic pixels per unit are 1 and 0 or 10. And reference pixels per unit 100. Everything looks perfectly fine there. Save that. I'm then going to go in here and get my canvas and drag it down and lay it in directly over top of where the camera is. We can zoom in here to make sure that all that's fine. You can see it's off a slight little bit, so let's get it in there and get it as close as possible. And there you go. I think that looks pretty good. I can then select my score, and it's actually down here at the bottom of the screen. Grab that guy, and I'm going to throw it right up here above, right in the middle of the screen, basically. And so that I'll be able to see it, I am going to also change its color to white, and grab that, and click right there, and there we go. Now we have our score all set up, as well as the canvas in general. Now what I want to do is set up my bullets and write all the code for that, and to do so, we're going to go and click on Sprites inside of our Assets folder. And you can see right here is the bullet, and I'm going to set the bullets up as prefabs, and how you do that is you just drag them down here, drop them onto the scene, don't worry about it though. Make sure that they are the proper size, which they should be. Let's click on bullet here. Yep, pixels per unit is 1, and also point, so that it's not going to be all blurry. Probably going to want to scale this though, so that it's not quite so big. And yeah, I think I'm going to want to shrink it down a little bit. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to shrink it down by half. And then we're going to see what that looks like on the screen. There it is, a little bit smaller, and I like it a little bit better based off of my spaceship size. This is what I'm looking at. See, there it is, blah, 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 blah. We are going to be adding rigid bodies to this so that we'll be able to move this. So we're going to come over here like this in Physics 2D and rigid body. I'm going to set my gravity once again to 0 because I don't want that to be affected. I'm going to set the mass very, very small so that it doesn't throw off any other objects it may hit inside of my game. Going to turn on my collision detection and interpolate so that movement is smooth and freeze rotation Z. Also going to come up here, dynamic, and change it to kinematic. Okay, so everything else there looks great. Now, I don't want a bullet floating around here on the screen. They are going to appear. They're not going to be something that is going to, always be on the screen. So what you do in that situation is you go and actually make this into a prefab. And how you turn it into a prefab is you just drag it over, drop it in the prefabs folder. There it is. And then you delete it from the scene. And then we can make them appear whenever we want, because we have them all saved here. Okay, so basically what we need to do now is go and create a script for our bullets so our bullets can fly. So I'm just going to select my scripts and double click on bullet, and it'll open up in Visual Studio, and there it is right there. And then you have to think about the type of things you're going to need with your bullet. Well, if you're going to be moving something, you always need a speed. So I'm going to come in here and just go and define my speed, and I'm going to make that 30. I like to have everything move at the same rate of speed, and 30 looks pretty good on the screen. I'm also going to need access to the rigid body so that I will be able to move my bullets. So I'm going to get that as well. And let's just call that rigid body with a capital B. And as far as I know, that's all I'm going to need right now. Now, in regards to initializing the bullets whenever they first come on the screen, I need to get a reference to the rigid body, so we can use that. So I'm going to go rigid body is equal to, and we do that with get component. And of course, you type in exactly what you're looking for, which is the rigid body right there. And there you are. And then what I need to do then is define exactly what the bullets are going to do whenever they come on the screen. And how you do that is you define your velocity for the bullet when it comes on the screen. So I'm just going to go rigid body and velocity is equal to, and what do I want my bullets to do when they come on the screen? I want them to shoot straight up in the air. So I can just go vector 2 and up, and then multiply that times my speed, and that will define how quickly they move upwards on our screen. Now what I need to do I need update? I can't think of any reason I need it, so I'm going to get rid of it. Now what I want to do is I want to set it up so that whenever my bullets hit the wall, they are automatically destroyed. And how I can do that is I can go void on trigger, enter 2D, and collider 2D. And I'm just going to call this COL for collider. And then I'm going to say if the thing that my bullet collided with has the tag name of wall, and in the last part of the tutorial I showed you how to set up those tag names and do it in the inspector where it says tag, and you create a tag called wall and you do it. So then what I'm going to do is if it does, I want to destroy my bullet, and game object is always a reference to whatever the object is for this class. Another thing I want to do, just as a safety precaution, anytime my bullets leave the screen, I want to also, or the viewing area, I want them also to be destroyed. And this just saves from a potential, issue in which we have bullets that are somewhere off screen and we don't see them, and then, the whole entire computer falls apart because it runs out of memory. So let's go, and always, anytime a bullet is not visible, let's also destroy it in that situation. So here we'll go game object once again, and that will destroy the bullet once again. All right, so I got all that saved up. And now I'm going to open up Spaceship and set up Spaceship so that it'll be able to fire bullets. So let's come down here inside of my update area. And remember, I set jump up so that it would fire bullets in the last part of the tutorial. So what I want to do here is actually create a bullet at the position for our spaceship. So how I can do that is just go instantiate. That's going to create a bullet. And what do I want to create? The bullet. Transform position. And then after that, I'm going to go in and put in whatever the heck this thing's called, quaternarian, whatever. Basically what this does is it just adds my bullets with no rotation to them. So that's what that is used for. And identity, and there we are. And that is how we go and create a bullet right where our spaceship is. And do I have, oh, there it is. So I'd have to uncomment that. Had that in the last part of the tutorial. Now I'm going to save that, jump back into Unity. And then I'm going to go into the prefab section, click on bullet, and I'm also going to have to add a box collider clearly, and that's physics 2D and box collider 2D, and I'm going to put is trigger on there because I am going to need it in this situation for our bullet. Then I'm going to go and create all of the different tags that I can think of right now that I need. I have player already created inside here, so I don't need that. Wall is also created, and I'm also going to need bullet. So I'm going to come in here for this guy. Create bullet, and there is bullet. So click on save, and that's good. And then I'm gonna have to create my layers, couple more layers here. So click right here. I have spaceship and wall. I'm also going to create bullet. And once again, these are going to be used to handle collision issues and to make sure that things don't get fouled up. If you have a bullet automatically appear inside of your spaceship, it's going to cause all kinds of issues. So we want to avoid that. And to set that, I'm going to come over here to Edit and Project Settings and Physics 2D. And I'm going to come down here, and anywhere that I have my bullet come in contact with my spaceship, I want to get rid of that problem. I don't want them to have collision. So there, that's all I do is uncheck that. Have that all set up, and let's make sure that I actually have this set up for these guys. So click on Spaceship, and I have player right here. My layer also needs to be, or else it needs to be Spaceship. And let's double check since I'm already here. My top wall, yes, I have both those set as walls. My bottom wall, yes, both of those are walls. My left wall, it's always good whenever you think of something, don't put it off, just go and do it right immediately. Okay, so all those are walls, and then I have my bullet. And, see? Forgot to do that. So let's go bullet, and let's come down here and go bullet. All right, so all my layers and tags and all that is set up. And we're going to be doing more in regards to telling Unity to avoid or ignore collisions as the tutorial continues. And now I want to go in and set up my aliens. Well, let's go and run this here, see what happens. And you can see here, got my spaceship. I have my collisions working. And I can't fire bullets. You know why? Because I didn't assign them. So let's go in here to Spaceship right there. And if we come down here, you're going to see where the script is. It's saying that it wants a bullet, and you didn't give it one. So that's the reason why bullets aren't appearing. So let's go and grab a bullet, and let's drop it right in there. And you can see it's right there in the script area. And now let's run it once again, see if it fires. Here we are. It's coming up there, but it's not shooting up in the air. Why is that? Let's go look. Go and look at bullets, and let's see what we got here. Well, I didn't go and get my bullet script and drag it into the bullet area. So let's grab the bullet script, drop it inside of there, save it, and let's run it again. And now we can start, and now you can see the bullets are firing, and on top of that, whenever they hit the top wall, they are automatically being deleted or destroyed. All right, so great, a lot of progress here. Now what I want to do is set up my aliens. So we're going to come in here, and I'm going to go to my sprite section, and there these guys are, and these are going to be all of our aliens. So let's just figure out which ones are going to be which. And I have alternative aliens set up. I wish it's a little bit bigger. Can I make that bigger? No, I can't. Not sure why. All right, so I have I don't know if you can see it or not, but I have alternative aliens. So let's zoom in here really close. So I have this alien, see, and then I have that. It's alternative. So it's going to basically, as they go across the screen, it's going to go backwards and forwards. And I'm going to set all these up as prefabs, just like I did previously. So what I want to do is I want to take all of these guys and drag them over and drop them inside of the scene. Let's go and line them up all right next to each other. So there's this guy, and let's see what this is. Yep, that's another one. And 4 is another one. I actually messed that up a little bit. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's put it down there. And 5, there's another greenie. And 6. And that's going to be an explosion, actually. Let's also set that prefab up. And a 7. This is going to be when my ship explodes. And an 8. And, oh, that's the spaceship. I don't want that one. So let's go and just delete that. And 9. There is the alternative version of that alien. And 10. There's the alternative for that alien. And 11. There's the alternative for my green. So let's zoom in here. And you can see all those different sprites that I went and created inside of GIMP. Okay, so good stuff. Now what I want to do is I'm going to one by one turn these into prefabs. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to change their name as well. So let's come in there and select this, and I'm going to call this guy Alien 2, and then I'm going to call this guy, whoops, go and make sure I have that selected, Alien 2 Alternative. So I'm going to give these all different names. So and this guy's going to be Alien 3. And this is going to be Alien 3 Alternative. And this is going to be Alien 4. Whoops, let's make sure I got this right. Okay, so that's Alien 2, that's fine. That's Alien 3, okay. That's Alien 4. All right, so I'm sitting here typing and not looking at what I'm doing. So that's Alien 4. And then this is going to be Alien 5. So just change that to 5. You can't see what I'm doing there. All right. And then this is going to be an explosion. So I'm going to have this be my alien explosion. So alien explosion. And then what's this guy going to be? I'm going to change that to spaceship explosion. So spaceship explosion. And then these are going to be my alts. So this is going to be, this is Alien 3, yes. So I'm going to change this to Alien 3 Alt and change this to Alien 4 Alt and then change this to Alien 5 Alt. And that's all those guys. Then I want to size all of these guys because I made everything half its size. So I'm just going to select every single one of these. And then over here inside of the inspector, I'm going to be able to scale them all. So I'm going to make them all 0.5, half of what they were, just like I did with the bullets. You can see they look much better on the screen now. Everything looks like it lines up much better. And then I'm going to drag all these guys over into the prefabs area. So I got that one and I got that one. And you can see they turn blue whenever you do that. There's that. That's how you can tell it's a prefab. There's another one. And just do this with every single one of these guys. All right. And drag that in there and drag that in there. And then after you have prefab versions of all of those, you can delete all of it. So let's just select all of it and delete it. And there they go. They're all gone. Now what I want to do is have all my aliens all be in the same area. So I'm going to go create and create empty. And I'm going to rename this guy aliens. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create some new layers. Let's just select this right here. I'm going to create some new tags and so forth. So this one's not going to be called aliens, but I'm just creating it here. So let's go and call this alien and save that. And then let's also have a layer that is called alien. Okay. And all of those are going to be set. Then I'm going to grab all of my individual aliens here and throw them into my box. So I'm going to grab this guy and Alien 3 and Alien 4. And I'll change to their alternative versions inside of code whenever they move. Okay, so I got all of those guys inside of there. And then I want to line them up. So let's just go and select this and let's have it. Oh, make sure we got this selection box up here. And we're going to line them up on our screen so that they can all be in like a row that makes, or a column that makes sense. So let's drag that over there. And let's grab this guy, drag him right there. And then Alien 5, and let's drag him, put him right there. Okay, all those are set up nice. Then going to select all of these different little guys we have here. And I'm going to come up and give them the same tags. So I'm going to come in and go alien and then go alien for that as well. So we don't forget, I'm going to say anytime an alien comes in contact with another alien to ignore the collision. So project settings and physics 2D like this. Come over here and go and uncheck where it says alien touching alien. Don't want any alien on alien action going on here. And let's go zoom in here and see how this looks. Don't really like the way they're lining up here. Let's just go in, zoom in, and try to put them in there by hand so that they look a little bit better. Okay, so that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. I think they all look pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to come in here and select all of them once again and go and add a rigid body. So I'm going to go add components, physics 2D, and rigid body. Actually, sometimes there are issues whenever we go. I'm going to go and remove that component whenever we do duplications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my duplications immediately right now. So I have all the aliens selected right now. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to come in here and right click and say duplicate. And then you got to go in here and move these guys around a little bit. So let's put that right there, put that right there, and put this right here. So there we got all of our different aliens all stacked up inside of there. I'm going to select all of them, and then I'm going to move them all over, and then have them all line up pretty well here. So there that is. If we go zoom in, yeah, they look like they're lined up good. And we can just let that be selected. And I'm going to make all the different changes here in a second. So let's go and duplicate that once again. 2, 3, 4, 5, everything looks good. So let's go and select this, move them over. And I'm going to have like 5 of these guys, I think. Once again, what I'm just doing is just selecting all of them, clicking duplicate, grab that, throw that right there. Oh, I don't want them to be overlapping though. So let's just move this out here, make sure there's no overlap, and let's just go in there and verify once again that there's no overlap here. This looks pretty good. Move them just good part apart and select this. A lot of tedious sort of moving things around, but that's art. I mean, that's just what art is. All right, so that's cool. And let's select these guys. Whoops, I just don't like the way whenever these are set up this way, so that's why I'm moving them around. So let's go put 3, 4, and 5 like that, and let's do one more row. So let's go and select all of them and duplicate. in 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's grab this and let's drag them so that they are apart once again. Okay, so there we go. We got 5 rows of aliens. Everything looks pretty good. All right, so now what we're going to do is select every single one of these aliens and go and add the same components to them. So just add component, physics 2D, and the very first thing I'm going to do is add rigid body, of course, so that I can change it and move them around. I'm going to leave this as dynamic. Once again, I'm going to change my mass to a very small number so that if the aliens bump into things, they don't affect whatever they bump into. Gravity, I'm going to set that to 0 because I don't want this affected by gravity. Freeze rotation at 0. Continuous C, you do the same thing over and over again, and interpolate. Then I'm also going to add a box collider to this. So once again, physics 2D, box collider 2D. Is trigger is not going to apply here. I'm going to leave the is triggers in the bullets for the aliens as well as for my spaceship's bullets. And then I'm going to have an alien script, of course, which I already created, but I didn't actually fill in. So let's go and get this, drag this down here, and throw it inside of there. And now that I have all that set up, what I want to do is just click on these aliens real quick just to see that everything is lined up exactly the same way. Sometimes when you do duplications, it causes all kinds of weird things to happen, but it looks like everything is good. Basically, I'm just verifying that all of the components are set up exactly the same. All right, great. So everything looks like it's working good, so we can close that. Let's go and open up my prefab section once again. Grab my alien bullet. Where is the alien bullet at? Yep, not there. So let's go and create it. So sprites. Here I'm just going to use a simple square. Drag it over here. Drop it inside of there. Click on it. And I'm going to name this alien bullet. Select off of there. Drag it over into the prefab section. And then delete it off of my hierarchy. So delete it. And alien bullet. Select that guy right there. Leave everything exactly the same for now. Click on scripts, and there's the alien bullet script. Drag it, drop it right there. Come up here, click on prefabs again, alien bullet, and let's add some components to this. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to add a rigid body, of course, so that I'll be able to fire this. So rigid body 2D. Kinematic on that. I'm going to freeze rotation, of course, get the collisions, and of course, interpolate for smoothing. Then going to also add a box collider to this. So there it is, box collider. I'm going to use is trigger on this because I want to be able to use that method with this, and I don't need to do anything else there. Then going to also get alien explosion. Don't need to do anything there either, except I want to verify that I actually have the right size for that. So let's just double check on these guys. And I'm also going to create my shield here since I have this open. So sprites, I'm just going to use the basic square again, drop that inside of there, change this to shield. There that is, looks good. Let's click on square just to make sure. Yes, pixels per unit 1, point no filter, don't want anything to be blurry. Going to change the color on this though to like a neon green, so let's click on that. Come over here, click on neon green, that looks good. Everything looks good there with the square, so what I want to do is select my shield here and just change the color on it. So I'm just going to click on that, come over here to neon green, select that, and there it goes. And we can close that, and the shield looks good. And then we'll grab the shield, throw it in the prefabs once again, drop it right there, and then delete this out of here. We'll put the shields in later on. And we're just going to let the bullets handle what happens to the shields. Don't need to do anything else aside from that. And then basically I have everything set up so that in the next part of the tutorial, I'm going to be able to write a lot of code and finish up a good part of the game. So I think this is a pretty good place to stop. So like always, please leave your questions and comments below. Otherwise, till next time.